Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is 304 EVs. I am your co host, Zane, joined here by the host, Curtis. Say hello, Curtis.
Hello, guys. This is episode 8.
Episode 8. We got a good bit of stuff to talk about today. Anywhere from personal accounts to, the usual, the news, the latest, all the stuff that's happening in the EV world, which if you blink, you might miss something. There's a lot going on, always, especially here recently. So,
Yeah, we don't even pick every single new article. I mean,
we briefly, so yeah, we definitely suggest doing some of your own research. Keep up with the news a little bit, but we'll kind of give our thoughts and opinions and go in depth on a couple that we find more interesting. So yeah, definitely don't just get everything here. Kind of keep up with it a little bit because there's a lot of stuff that we don't cover. If we covered everything, this would be way too long and a lot of content for everybody to take in. It's easier just to browse a little bit sometimes. That's what I do, anyways. I don't read all these articles either. I just browse the ones that we go over because reading's hard. So we just do a little bit and get the big points. But anyways,
and then before we talk about the news, we wanted to just talk about some things that I don't know we've experienced firsthand the last couple over the last week. I guess mostly just things I've experienced.
Mostly you. I haven't done a whole lot. I've been at home a lot.
So I think the most positive thing I experienced was I was eating breakfast somewhere the other day, and I saw an ID4 in the parking lot.
Volkswagen ID4,
a Volkswagen
by the way.
ID4, fully electric SUV, and I was able to narrow it down and figure out who owned it, and mostly because I saw them go out to their car and come back in, and they were actually an Uber driver. I guess they also did Uber Eats, and I think they've had it for a while. They had a Pro S trim, so just rear-wheel drive. And I told him I had a Bolt, and they basically asked me how much range I had, and he told me how much range he got.
How much range did he get, by the way?
Well, basically the same story as me to an extent. He gets more when it's warmer out and less when it's cold out.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think he said anywhere from 180 to 200 when it's really cold, and then he probably gets close to his regular rated 240 range in the summertime. But yeah, he liked it. But I think something of note is this guy definitely didn't strike me as like a car enthusiast or an EV enthusiast. Just seemed like a regular dude who, I don't know, probably just heard about the car and kind of ordered one and got it and just uses it for work. So
yeah, that's cool.
It is cool to hopefully start seeing more people buy them that aren't just car enthusiasts. And I guess that'll actually be some adjusting for us because now I kind of expect if you own an EV, you're going to know all about it, and you thought about it really hard and you shopped around a lot, but eventually that's not going to be the case.
Yeah, it's kind of cool to hear that about that guy specifically, where he's not an enthusiast, because it seems like a lot of people you talk to, they've researched a lot and they've got a lot of strong opinions or strong reasons as to why they get an electric car, whether it be environmental reasons or I don't know, they're in a field that works with technology or works with electricity or something like that, some sort of engineering, and that's really fascinating to them. But it's cool to see people that are just like, oh yeah, it's a car. I'll just drive it. It's electric, but pretty cool.
Well, also, more specifically, a lot of the people you talk to now, you can even say, like we know someone who owns a Porsche Taycan, and we can say, hey, why didn't you get this or that? And they'll be like, oh, well, because, it didn't drive as well, or the seats, or this or that. And I mean, they can kind of defend their car versus the competition. Where most people that buy cars, you're like, oh, why didn't you get the CX-5 instead of the Equinox? And they're like, what's a CX-5? Like, it's
that's
not
a Mazda, by the way, for
this
that don't know.
but they're, a lot of average car buyers don't do a ton of research and don't generally test drive a whole lot of cars before they make a decision. So you'll start to see more and more, I guess, average consumers buy electric vehicles, especially once they become more
popular, readily available.
Well, more readily available. They're popular, but just more where you can actually go and buy one.
When you stroll onto the lot and all they have are electric cars, yeah, that'll be the day when people buy them. That's going to happen pretty soon.
People will still ask, is there a gasoline version of this?
I want gasoline.
Actually, someone I know, they asked me about the Mustang Mach-E. I don't remember what they were asking, but they were like, I think asking, I don't know if you could order it or what it cost or something. They said, well, is there a gasoline version? I said, no, there's not. Why would you want there to be one?
It's a Mach-E. E stands for electric. That's
Like,
the whole point.
they built the Mach-E from the ground up to be an electric vehicle. So not all current electric vehicles were actually built from the ground up to be electric. So
Right.
most noticeable examples of that, or probably the one people will see the most often, is the F-150 Lightning. They did not build that truck to be an EV only. They took a regular F-150 and slightly modified it
To be electric.
To be
Yes.
electric. And then also the BMW i4, the sedan, is literally based off the exact same platform as the gasoline version. I don't even think you have the flat back seat floors on their sedan.
Yeah, maybe not. I don't know.
Because they've designed, and also the new i7, they're like $100,000 luxury sedan. They have like a gasoline version, an EV version, maybe even a hybrid or a plug-in hybrid version. So they're, sometimes you get cheaper costs with that because you're not developing a whole new platform, but at the same time you miss out on some of those cool, I guess, EV only perks.
Perks and upgrades and features and just the new refreshing feel of a car that's built different. Yeah, they're definitely different. The flat floor being something that people don't really think of. There's no transmission tunnel, so there's no bump in the middle of your back seat. If you get the middle seat, your leg room is better when you have an EV because your feet go on the same floor as the people around you.
Yeah, you can slide all the way across.
Yeah,
the back seat.
You can lay in the floorboard in a flat surface
on a sedan. Because some trucks have almost a flat floor already if they're jacked up enough. Also, you get the frunk. Most cars that are
the
designed
frunk.
Not always. Not always do you get a big frunk, but you're more likely to get a frunk if you have a car that was designed from day one to be an electric vehicle.
Except if you get a Kia EV6 or
a Bolt,
Ioniq 5, or a Bolt or a Bolt EUV.
But the F-150.
If you get a car that's actually designed well, you can get a frunk. Like the Mach-E has a frunk. The Ford F-150 Lightning's gonna have
that wasn't designed
frunk.
to be an EV, but it still has the frunk.
Well, it's a huge motor that they removed too. They had a lot of room to give there.
Obviously, all the Teslas have frunks.
Teslas, all that good stuff. Another car that's got a frunk. First article of the day. The Corvettes. The new Corvette, by the way. So it's a mid-engine. Or, coming soon, an EV. So it's been officially confirmed by General Motors that there's going to be a fully electric Corvette called the E-Ray. But then there's also, much sooner, a hybrid coming in 2023. The hybrid is supposedly going to have 1,000 horsepower. So basically, they're utilizing all-wheel drive. Is that what you're saying?
Hybrid, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. We think that they'll. Wait a minute.
Yeah, GM has a video out on Twitter.
Around 1,000 horsepower from a twin-turbo version of that engine combined with electric motor powering the front wheels. So that would be all-wheel drive. And then Car and Driver also suspects that the electric version will offer all-wheel drive as well. So all-wheel drive should give it phenomenal traction if they do it right.
So that's cool. Yeah, they're still utilizing the same V8, but they're also putting an electric motor in the front.
Yeah, so they're not doing it really for fuel economy. They're doing it for performance.
Speed. Make it fast. It's pretty cool, though. Pretty cool. I think that's neat. GM seems to be very on board with all of this. All this EV stuff, that is. Furthermore, another GM article we've got lined up. We got 3 of them here, by the way. So bear with us. They're all kind of interrelated. I put them all together. GM is doing something pretty cool. This article came out on the 1st. It's on Car and Driver. It says GM creates trick heating system for its Ultium line of EVs. Ultium, by the way, is their battery technology. The same one that's going into the Hummer, and the same technology that they're teaming up with Honda to create cheap EVs later on. I think we covered that article last week.
Yep, and they're also putting the Ultium technology in, well, pretty much everything moving forward. Just to simplify it for the viewers, everything but a Chevrolet Bolt or Bolt EUV will have Ultium.
Yep, so they're calling this little feature Ultium Energy Recovery. Basically, they're capturing the heat that the vehicle is generating as it moves, heat that comes off the electric motors and the heat that comes off the battery. Because if you don't know, these batteries get hot, especially when they're charging. They're liquid cooled, most of them. But yeah, a lot of heat when they're being used and when they're being charged. It's just a lot of power running in and out of these batteries. So they're going to take this heat. They're going to use it for, they don't specifically say what, use it as heat sources elsewhere. They even say they utilize heat from people in the car. So I guess if you're just in there being hot and sweaty, you make some heat elsewhere, you have the car help it out a little bit. It's supposed to be more efficient, and it's been proven to be more efficient. They've, for some reason, calculated efficiency, and it's up 10%, according to GM. So that's an inside report. But pretty cool. So yeah, the Ultium-based vehicles now include the Hummer, the Silverado, and the Cadillac Lyriq, which will be out soon. I guess the Silverado is out soon too.
And they also notate here in this article that the Ultium energy recovery system will come standard on every one of its current and future Ultium-based EVs.
That's cool. So yeah, it's going to draw from the battery itself, various power electronics, some propulsion components, and then yeah, the interesting part is the body heat of people in the cabin, as well as inside and outside humidity. They're just taking energy from all kinds of stuff.
And they also notate here that that heating solution will give you approximately, will extend the range by as much as 10%.
There we go.
Which actually seems kind of low because I know the Bolt gets slaughtered in the wintertime with efficiency.
So say yeah, you have a 250-mile range,
you
get
get
25 miles
on the interstate. You can in the wintertime on the interstate.
When you drive a Bolt like I drive, your Bolt did not hold up to me. That battery was draining fast.
But anyways, also this is really interesting. Just not noticed as part of the article. It's at the near the bottom. This new energy system can apparently warm the cabin of its EVs in less time than similar systems with internal combustion engines.
Oh, that's cool.
So
yeah, because I know my car takes a while, especially in the winter, to heat up. I'll try to watch that little hot cold needle come off the ground and start moving. Yeah, it seems later on, because they didn't really specify that in the highlights up there, but later on down in here we do see it's mostly going to be to warm the cabin, so that makes sense. But I wonder, why would you utilize this in the summertime? That's what I want to know. Like, what else are they going to use it for during that point? Because if it's 100 degrees outside, please don't warm the cabin.
Well, no, they're not going to use it in the summertime.
Do something else.
But
put the heat somewhere. Get it out.
Yeah, so that I think that is an important part. Is that I think all modern EVs are going to need a heat pump. Like the average person buying an electric vehicle, and I think they're going to have to think more and more about average users and not tech enthusiasts or car enthusiast people.
Mm-hmm.
You can't advertise 400 range of EPA, 400 miles of EPA range, and then you go driving on the interstate in the dead of winter, and it goes to like 300. Like, people aren't going to do that research. The salespeople aren't going to know this stuff.
Have a lot of phone calls.
You're going to get, I don't want to say you're going to get stranded because you're going to see your range, your gasometer on the GM vehicles telling you you're going to get 300 miles, but, having a heat pump is going to reduce such big decreases in the wintertime.
Yeah, the fact that some don't already have them, especially when they're designed in Michigan. These cars are made in Detroit, and they can't put a heat pump in them like the Mach-E.
Well, they say they wanted to cut cost, I guess. I mean, the Tesla, after it has a heat pump, its rated range in the summer versus winter is like a 2% difference now.
It's crazy.
So the heat pump makes a big deal. It makes a big difference. And I know a few months ago we covered where those cars were stranded on the interstate.
Mm-hmm.
And even without a heat pump, I think they tested a Mach-E. It lasted 14 hours. With a heat pump, it's going to last longer than that. A lot longer than that.
24.
I think the Teslas with the heat pumps are like 3 times more efficient than without. In terms of heating the cabin, in terms of energy usage. So heat pumps are definitely a big deal. And will probably just be the norm in a few years. It's not going to be a debate on whether or not something has a heat pump or trying to get a model that does. Like, I think most of them will have heat pumps out of pure necessity.
Speaking of a few years, if you want to be an executive at GM and still make money, you're in a few years, that money won't be there if you're not selling EVs. Article from Electric, that ends with a K, by the way. Electric.co. This is from the 28th of April. CEO Mary Barra, I think that's how you say that, says GM will begin tying executive compensation to the success of its EV targets. So all of these dealerships that are refusing to sell EVs and not getting certified are going to suffer big time because the people above them are also going to suffer. What a smart move by GM to really push out their electric vehicles. Make your executives suffer if they don't hit the targets. The execs that are stubborn and old and don't want to see electric cars come to be, their paychecks are going to get smaller and smaller. Their pockets are going to be lighter and less plump. And they don't like that. So they're going to have to like EVs. Hit them where it hurts.
Yeah, and well, there should be more options for General Motor fans soon with the, let's see, the Bolts are still out, the Hummer's out, the Cadillac Lyrics, apparently they rolled some of those off the production line last month, so those will be in people's customers' hands in the next few weeks. And then next year, you're going to have the Blazer and the Equinox. And I guess the year after that, you're going to have a EV Corvette. So
the Blazer was such a missed opportunity for GM. They should have made a Jeep and Bronco competitor.
Yeah, well,
I do not know why when they have a Traverse and an Equinox, they still make the Traverse.
Yeah.
Why, if you have two
and
SUVs,
a Trailblazer too,
and the Trailblazer, why would you make another SUV that's similar to an Equinox?
Why would you make one called Trailblazer and one called Blazer?
A Trailblazer sounds more like an off-road vehicle to me, not a Trax
smaller
competitor.
Than the Blazer.
Come on.
Then you have a Trax. So you have a.
Oh, they're killing the Trax.
Hold on.
Though.
Oh, they did discontinue the Trax, didn't they?
Yeah.
Forgot about that.
So the Trailblazers.
I'm kind of surprised.
Trax.
I mean, I'm sure the profit margins on the Trax were thick.
A lot of people have them too. People just buy anything, I guess. They roll to the dealership and say, "Yes, give me a Trax."
Here's the SUV lineup for General Motors, from cheapest should be smallest to biggest. So you got the Trax, which will soon be done. You have the Trailblazer. The minimum price, starting price between the Trax and the Trailblazer, guess how much it is?
$5,000.
$200.
Oh. Well, that makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the
Trax,
Trax starts at 21.4. The Trailblazer starts at 21.6. The
Trailblazer looks so much better.
The Trailblazer looks nice to be a really small SUV. I kind of like the way it looks.
Yeah, it's cute.
Then the Equinox, which starts at 25.8. Then the Blazer, which starts at 33.4. That's a big price jump there, actually. And then the Traverse. Guess how much more the Traverse starts at versus the Blazer?
$500.
$300.
Oh, I was closer that time.
So I don't know what's going on. It's either like, $8,000 more or $200 more. And then the Tahoe starts at $50,500.
Expensive
and
suckers.
The Suburban starts at only $3,200 more at $53,200.
Suburban's just like a long wheelbase Tahoe, basically.
If you want a car, you have two options. You have a Spark or a Malibu, and the Spark will be discontinued soon. So you have one option, a Malibu.
I'm surprised the Malibu hasn't been discontinued.
But
the only reason they have it is because it's a fleet car.
Now, this is an interesting point. If you told someone this 10 years ago, they thought you were crazy. General Motors offers just as many electric options as they do car options. 2 and 2.
And it'll be a lot bigger soon.
And they offer as many electric options as they do performance options, too.
What's the performance? So, Camaro
and Corvette. So you have two performance, you have two cars, you have two electric.
All
so
SUVs
the electric will be up to
5
by the end of 2024, minimum 5. No, there'll be more than that by then. Into next year, there'll be 4 total.
That's crazy.
So
how fast it's moving.
You're going to see. So right now, their biggest segment is SUVs at 7 options. But yeah, that's kind of crazy to think that how many SUVs.
But back to the Blazer, it doesn't belong. It doesn't need to be there. Get an Equinox or get a Traverse. The Blazer is. It should have been a Bronco and Jeep Wrangler competitor. They don't have a vehicle in that segment. Other than a truck.
I have a family member who actually bought a Blazer. They bought like a base model. For the amount of money this thing costs, for what you get.
I'm sure it's not a good value.
Ooh, this is a bad value.
Yeah.
I would much rather be on Team Equinox than Team Blazer. Whew. You can get like a nearly loaded Equinox for the price of like an entry level Blazer. I know the Blazer is probably slightly bigger, but still, oof,
Well, yeah, the word
rough.
slightly, that's where it comes down. I
Yeah.
can't believe it. They wasted that. The
Well,
Blazer used to be a bit of an off-road type
when they made the
vehicle.
Blazer, they literally just copied parts from the Camaro. I mean, have you looked at the air vents look like they're straight from the Camaro? I think that screen's from the Camaro.
Yeah, they're just gonna make a Camaro SUV.
So yeah, I'm not a fan of the Blazer. If any of our audience they have a Blazer,
Sorry,
I'm sorry, I just don't think it's a good value.
from my point of view, I don't like it.
Yeah, I'm generally not on Team SUV to begin with, but some SUVs are fine. But I think the Blazer's a pitiful value overall. All right, so I think we're done with all our General Motors news.
Oh, wait a second. Look at this. In that same article from
Oh, hold on.
GM, I found a cool little point. Yeah, so that we had just kind of mentioned the slew of new electric vehicles that they're coming out, like the Equinox, the Blazer, and the all-wheel drive Corvette. But in their article, they say, "Oh, GM plans to steal the crown from Tesla as the top-selling EV by mid-decade. That'd be 2025. They're planning on topping Tesla.
It's doable.
That'd be awesome
They have
in
way
some
more factories.
ways, and not awesome in other ways because I do like Tesla, but Tesla's getting a big ego, big time. Their prices are way too high for what they're selling. Model
Mhm.
3 should not be a $50,000 to $60,000 car.
Yeah, I
It
agree.
should be a $30,000 to $40,000 car, if that.
But it should be $35,000 adjusted for inflation.
Yeah,
'Cause that's what it should. They never should have raised the price, except for inflation. So actually, it should probably be a $40,000 car, roughly.
yeah, it's way too expensive.
And I think this article, because it's funny, every time General Motors says they're the king of EVs or they're the leader. In this article says here in Q1 of 2022, GM delivered 457 EVs.
Woo! 99 were the Hummer EV.
Yeah. So
I don't even consider the Hummer EV out yet. It still seems like it's a myth in my mind because I haven't seen one. I haven't even heard of one being around. I don't even know who has these. Apparently, only 100 people have them. But
yeah, I mean they just struggle with production. Well, all the manufacturers are struggling to produce enough electric vehicles, and a lot of that is 100% down to just batteries at this point,
yeah,
because they all have battery facilities planned. I know this article here mentions GM's building a 50 gigawatt hour battery facility in the U.S. But I mean, anytime they announce a new factory or something, it's generally going to take, I don't know, 3 to 5 years to actually get anything from it.
yeah. So it'll be a delay.
So,
Yeah, that's what we were looking at Rivian earlier. I was looking at R1Ts. I
yeah,
love the R1T.
if you want a dual motor R1T, so the cheaper R1T, you're not going to get it until 2024.
2024.
Like this year's not even halfway over with, and it's not even next year. It's the year after.
Yeah. Like, what?
I mean, it's more than 18 months.
Yeah, that's a long time away. Yeah, I remember Thomas's friend Sam was going to get, his family was going to get an R1T. Last time I talked to him was a few months ago. The lease they had on whatever car they were going to get rid of for it was coming up. And they were like, well, the R1T doesn't look like it's going to get delivered in time. So he said they might end up getting a Mach-E, something that they could actually get their hands on because the R1T was going to fold.
Well, good luck getting your hands on a Mach-E right now. The Mach-E is so back-ordered that they're not even taking new orders.
On any of them now?
No.
So I know they weren't taking them on the premiums.
None of them.
That's news to me. I didn't know about this.
Sorry. It says get updates.
But they're really cool cars. I like the way they look. A lot of people are like, oh, they should have never made that a Mustang. It's not a Mustang. I mean, I agree. It's not a Mustang, but it's cool. I like it's a sporty SUV.
Well, Ford plans to make, I believe I read 200,000 Mach-E's a year by the end of next year.
By the end of 2020, doing that by now.
No,
they're having trouble now.
I mean, they're probably doing like 40,000 a year. So yeah, if you look on the website, Select, GT, Premium, California, all not available for order.
Wow. Yeah, it was just the Premium. Now it's none.
So I remember a few months ago, I was kind of looking at the Mach-E just because they had longer financing terms at low rates.
I would definitely be down to get a Mach-E if they put a heat pump in. Give it a little
Yeah,
more range. They need to upgrade it a little bit. Hopefully they'll
yeah.
do that on pretty soon model year.
But yeah, the Mach-E actually is quite nice for its entry level price of 44,000. Look at the competition.
Versus getting what a Model Y for they start at 63.
Yeah, I think 62.
Sheesh.
So you can get
Save
a
20 grand.
you can get a GT Mach-E for the same amount of money.
Oh, that's like a perform. What's the premium? They don't have a price, do they?
48.
Oh, yeah, the premium's the sweet
Yeah, the
spot.
premium's the way to go.
Premium is definitely the sweet spot. It's the most luxurious of them.
Yeah, so the premium you get all the luxury, but it's not really a whole lot faster than select, and then the GT is going to be performance oriented.
So they, like anything else, they're like, sports car. You're getting suede seats and nothing else. Everything is going to be sporty and black. Nothing gets nice. You can't have a sports car with a white interior or anything. No.
Actually, kind of random here, but the Miata on its, I don't know if they still do it on this year. I think last year they offered white Napa leather seats on the Miata.
It's about
I
time.
was like, that's nice. Too bad it's too small for
Oh, the red,
majority of
the red
Americans.
and white is beautiful combo from Mazda. I love the red paint with the white interior.
Yeah, I had a short of years now. I had a Miata a few years ago. I really liked it, but a little too tall. Legroom's not great. Also, road noise is atrocious on the highway.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it was fun little car.
Not a daily
Where
car.
it was so small, even though it wasn't terribly quick, it felt really fast.
Yeah.
Yeah, it felt really quick. And the transmission felt fast, even though it was kind of a slow 6-speed automatic.
Yeah, 'cause you're in like a little cardboard box going 60 miles an hour. It feels really cool, huh?
Yeah. It looked cool too. I don't know. I liked it. I wish they would do another. My dream would be an EV Miata with like 4 inches longer, all for legroom. And that'd be amazing. So
Well, moving on past the Miata. From The Verge, we got some news on the F-150 Lightning. They're finally shipping. So we were talking about, I don't know if we were recording yet or not. We were talking about when we thought we would see the first one in our area. Because we know West Virginians like their trucks and their F-150s, especially here and then especially in like Texas and other states
yeah.
like that. It's like the top selling vehicle
Well,
in the state. It's a Ford F-150.
even if you look in my neighborhood, which I think's a kind of a higher income neighborhood. I mean, Barbersville in general is kind of higher income than a lot of parts of the state.
Mm-hmm.
You see a lot of nice houses with F-150s. F-150. I mean, the nicest house on my street, one of their vehicles, their primary vehicles, is an F-150. Actually, 2 people on my street own an F-150.
Trying to think of who, and I know at least one person in my neighborhood does.
And I would imagine those people are probably also the highest earners from my street, and they have F-150s.
Mm-hmm.
So the F-150 is popular for a wide range of people in the U.S.
Yeah, my neighbor retired from HP. He was doing like sales or something, and just bought a house in Florida. He's got an F-150.
There you go. It's not. I mean, it's kind of every man's car almost.
It's just that's the man mobile. Get an F-150.
All the tax brackets, you only get an F-150.
I'm trying to think of anybody else. There are several other trucks in my neighborhood. I know there's like Dodge or two, and I think we have a Tundra. I think might be another Tundra or two,
Even the
and
house
some
right off
GM products.
the corner near the end of my street, they have an F-150 too. So I just drive in the morning. I'm just driving by people's
F-150s, baby.
driveways. I'm seeing like F-150 every other house.
Yep.
So so Ford is seeing even big demand for their F-150 Lightning, their fully electric F-150. Apparently, they already have around 200,000 pre-orders, so they're focusing on getting all those out, and then they said they're gonna start advertising the F-150 Lightning to different truck owners that generally would buy other brands. So
In this article, they mentioned Rivian. They only sold around 2,000 of their R1T. Wow, so little. $2,000. I mean, the fact that we saw a truckload of those, I was like,
that's a large percentage of them.
that was like seeing, I don't even know, like 3 shooting stars collide or something crazy. I saw like 8. That was a little bit of the percentage there. I mean, that's pretty significant. Of 2,000, so 8 of them, 7 or 8. I forget how many there were. There was at least 6. There's two rows of them on the back of the truck. But anyway,
Yeah.
pretty
That's
cool.
kind of like Zane's dream EV, I think.
That's
Or
my
Zane's
dream
really.
vehicle now, I think. The
Yeah.
R1T. It's just so cool. I mean, I've always wanted a truck,
Yeah.
but I had a truck. It was my first vehicle, but I want a truck without spending the gas of a truck. I want to be able to
Mm.
use the truck, but also I don't use a truck all that much, so I don't need a big truck. So that puts you in like Ranger, Colorado, Tacoma, I guess now Maverick range. But the
Yeah.
Rivian is so cool. I love it. Got a frunk, got all the bells and whistles. It's super luxurious inside. Got the built-in speaker, the built-in flashlight. It's techy. They got the gear tunnel, the air compressor built in. It's just got all kinds of stuff. It'd just be a fun toy, like Tesla. That's what made Tesla so popular. It's got quirks and it's fun. You can make your passenger fart with a whoopee cushion, and you can dance and do a light show for you. Like that's nothing that you've seen on any other car.
Now, we'll say all that stuff is really cool, but to a lot of average buyers, because that's kind of the theme of today in a way, is average car buyers.
Yeah, I'm definitely an enthusiast.
A lot of average car buyers generally don't care about some of that tech.
Yeah.
Like, they're like, I mean, there are a lot of average car buyers who have Apple CarPlay and literally don't even use it, which
That's
I
so
think is
sad.
crazy. So Apple CarPlay, you plug your phone in, it's kind of like having your iPhone on your infotainment, but
It's like an iPad.
it obviously limits it tries to limit reading or typing when you're driving. So
Yeah.
it's going to read stuff
It's
to
kind of
you.
hands free.
Yeah, it's kind of hands free. But yeah, a lot of people, I don't know. I mean, there's also a large amount of people that just buy a vehicle just the way it looks on the outside.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, I
that's
like the Rivian looks on the outside too. That's another thing.
yeah.
It's really sleek, really classy, timeless look. There's nothing jagged or funky about it. It's just smooth and pretty.
And then a couple other things that, so I guess, let's see, The Verge interviewed CEO Jim Farley, and he made a couple interesting points that we wanted to cover here. So basically, he admitted there's just not enough batteries to build Ford's goal of 150,000 Lightnings a year, at least not at the current moment. But the battery plant they're building in Georgia, in partnership with SK Battery, should be able to scale up to that 150,000 a year goal. And then something else I noticed I thought was pretty interesting is Farley says he actually spends a large chunk of his day lobbying for more tax credits. So Farley predicts Ford will run out of its $125,750 EV tax credits sometime late this year or early next year, and he's lobbying for more.
Oh, that's all that the feds give them? 125,000?
Yeah, I think you get 200,000 total. You get 200,000 total, 7,500.
I didn't know they were capped. That's news to me.
Oh, like how many they're capped on deliveries?
Yeah, I thought they just
That's why Tesla
gave them out.
Tesla and GM don't have them anymore.
I didn't know that.
Okay, well,
I
it's
thought
all
Tesla
coming together
were
now.
just being dumb.
No. There's actually I don't even think price tag limits to get the $7,500, which might be slightly messed up. People buying $200,000 luxury cars getting $7,500, but whatever. That's beside the
If you get a
point.
Mercedes, it'll pay for your heated seats
and
and some other things.
But yeah, so they're capped on that, and then they go down. So after 200,000, they get cut in half to so many units, and they get cut in half again, and they're gone. Let's see here.
Well, alrighty then.
Yeah. So, and then something he mentions is that basically other countries, pretty much everyone except for us, kind of helps transition people to EVs with tax credits. China, Europe, I guess other parts of Asia. So other wealthy nations kind of still incentivize
Yeah, if
EVs.
we're going to compete, we need to do it.
Yeah, so we still might see tax credits by the end of the year in the United States. So
maybe
it would definitely be
We'll
good
see.
for Tesla, since they, from this article here, they apparently own around 75% of the U.S. electric car market so far this year. So out of the last quarter, they were accounted for about 75% of EV sales in the U.S. market.
Crazy.
Which is quite wild. So in 2020 they were 79% for the whole year, and then in 2021 they went down to 69.95%. And then for just this past quarter, they're at 75%. So they're still dominating.
So yeah, top 10 EVs sold in the US in Q1. Number 1, Tesla Model Y. Number 2, Model 3. So Tesla is the number 1 and number 2 spots. Number 3 was the Mustang Mach-E. So Ford's coming up there. I guess that's why they've canceled, or not canceled, but stopped orders, more orders of their Mach-E. Number 4 is the Model X. So Tesla has 3 of the top 4. And then after that, we've got the Ioniq 5 from Hyundai at number 5. Kind of fitting. And then the EV6 at number 6 from Kia. That's kind of funny how these are labeled and placed in the same number. The Model S is number 7 from Tesla. So Tesla, all of Tesla's models are existing in the top 10. The top 8, or top 7 rather. Tesla Model S being number 7. Nissan Leaf is at number 8. The Kia Niro at number 9, and the Audi e-tron at number 10. So we're definitely seeing what people prefer. Obviously Tesla, but there's several reasons why Teslas are at the top, and I think once charging infrastructure and availability of the other vehicles is better, we're going to see that change a lot. I think GM's going to hit this list. There's not a single GM vehicle in here.
Well, the Bolt was basically not in production for most of Q1. So a couple things I think from this and what he just said. It's really important to put some of these numbers in perspective. So Ford came in third with the Mustang Mach-E, but they only sold a little over 6,700 in the quarter, compared to 46,000 Model 3s, and the Model 3 is in second place. Okay, I don't know what the Model Y sold. I don't know why they don't list it here, but I mean that third place is a trailing third place, like bad. And then also number 3 is only 6,700. So what's number 4, 5, 6, and 7? What are those sales?
Yeah, they're not selling many Model X's, I guess.
No,
the Y and the 3 are definitely their big hitters.
I mean, the poor Model S is below the Ioniq 5 and EV6, and they can barely get any of those things out because they're so constrained on parts and batteries and chips and everything like that.
Yeah, it's pretty sad.
But yeah, I think also, like Zane just mentioned, this will be completely different in the next 5 years. Like once the charging infrastructure is basically fixed for non-Teslas, I mean, you're definitely going to see them taking the lead, I think, in some of these areas. Like, I don't think the Model 3 is going to hold its spot forever. You're definitely going to probably see, like, the F-150 Lightning past that, and probably a couple other SUVs.
Yeah, I think the SUVs are going to kill the Model 3, because the Mach-E would probably, if it was more available...
It might outsell the Model 3.
Outsell the Model 3,
yeah.
I think, because people like
it has SUVs. A good price. I mean, the Mach-E is like cheaper than a Model 3.
Yeah, it is, really.
So... for a bigger vehicle. I mean, there are a lot of downsides to it, like no heat pump and the charging infrastructure and the speed of the charging. But yeah, those numbers. I think it'd be interesting to think if all these companies had unlimited supply, if they could make as many as demand, what would the charts look like? Like
I don't know.
If none of them were supply constrained.
I think the Tesla would still hold the
Model Y
spot. Not necessarily at number 1, but it would still be here for sure, just because of the technological advantage of the car being built around software.
I think the Model Y still might hold number 1, but I think all the other numbers would be completely different. I don't think the Model X and S would not even be on the chart.
No, they're only probably on there because they're the best in that class right now.
Yeah.
Like when Mercedes rolls out theirs in huge numbers, and
BMW and
Lexus, GM and Toyota and Lexus, all these companies just push all their EVs out, it's going to change this chart big time.
Yeah. Very different market that we're going to see in the next 5 years.
Basically everything that's offered, almost.
That we know about, that we talk about or care about.
Other than the Bolt lineup, the EUV and the EV, and then the Mercedes S-Class, which is not going to be a big seller, I don't think.
You know what's missing from this?
Huh.
The ID4.
Oh, that's right.
The ID4 didn't even outsell the Niro or the Leaf. I don't know what's up about that. That is strange. So we're talking about the Volkswagen ID4, the one I mentioned earlier with the Uber driver.
Yeah.
Didn't even make top 10. That's kind of crazy.
I didn't even think about that.
Because those are backwarded like a year now.
Rivian's not on the list, but
I mean,
They
Rivian
only
doesn't.
produce like 2 grand. However, how many Audi e-trons did they actually sell? If Ford only sold 6,700 Mach-E's, the R1T might be number 11. We don't even know.
And then another notable thing from this article is that Kelley Blue Book notes that the electric vehicles represented 5% of the overall auto market for the first time in the U.S. I think it was at 4, now it's at 5.
Ooh, 5%.
Hey, percent's quite a few cars.
Yeah, it's a pretty big deal, I guess. Still a very small percent in the grand scheme of things, but I think we'll see that grow a lot in the next couple of years.
I mean, yeah, you'll
When do
probably
you think
see.
we'll break 10? Like 2 years?
I mean, we could break 10 by. Just depends on production. I mean, I think if they could sell as many as people wanted, I think we'd break 10 in a few months.
Yeah.
We're probably already broken 10. Like if there were EVs on all the dealership lots that people could test drive and buy that same day and buy them at sticker, then I would be shocked if we weren't 10.
Yeah.
I mean, we could hit 10 pretty quickly if Tesla can ramp up and sell everything they can make, and if Ford can ramp up, I think we'll see. I don't know, we might see 15% by the end of next year.
Pretty exciting. I would like to see that. We need to keep up with that percent. See how that changes over time, especially as we continue to keep up with the news. Next thing, speaking of the Mach-E, we just talked about a lot of things, but I like to try to tie these together a little bit if you can't tell. Article from motor1.com. NYPD unveils a new Mustang Mach-E police car at the New York Auto Show, which is quite fitting because they always use Explorers and Ford SUVs, so why not get an electric one? Their subheading here says these coppers will be silently patrolling the streets this summer, so they're gonna have this soon.
It's a GT version too.
Oh yeah, you gotta be fast on those New York streets. Forget the range. Wonder what lucky guy gets to drive this.
So some of the special things about it, apart from the usual stuff like decal sirens and lights, is that the Mustang Mach-E will have ballistic door panels and window inserts on both front doors.
Better than the Cybertruck's windows?
I don't know. The Cybertruck windows, they get smashed.
I wonder how these are gonna go.
Apparently, the one on display at the New York Auto Show is one of only 100 units that the NYPD will use. And you'll start seeing these cars in the summertime.
Oh, so there's 100. I missed that part.
Oh, also, this is a cool little tidbit. New York Governor Kathy Hochul announced that 10 fast chargers will be installed at LaGuardia Airport.
LaGuardia.
Seems like a very small amount for such a busy airport, but
10 fast chargers.
I'm kind of unsure of why they need fast chargers at airports, but
well, there's a lot of rentals at airports,
but
and a lot of
yeah,
traffic. People pick people up and wait on their flights, that kind of
yeah, I guess so. I think you need like hundreds of level 2 chargers though, for people that park for like a week.
Yeah, just plug it up.
Yeah, I'd like to see a lot of level 2 chargers.
That could be a new job. The charging attendant go out and check the cars,
move them,
and then keep the stalls. And we're creating jobs, people. Look at this.
Oh, I know something else about. I forgot to mention I went out of town this last week. Is the hotel I stayed at, the Hyatt? They had 2 EV chargers,
Ooh.
2 level 2 chargers. I did not see them in use the entire time I was there though.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if they actually worked, because there was a Tesla way out in the parking lot that wasn't using them. I assume they worked. They weren't on plug share, but there were 2 chargers there, and they got iced a few times. So internal combustion engine vehicle parked there.
Nice.
A few times.
Iced.
But while I was there, they painted the spots bright green.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, while I was there. Because when I showed up, they weren't green. When I left, they were green.
You know what else is bright green? Our new logo. If anybody noticed, I made the logo again. This time I made it properly with Adobe software instead of, hate to say this, but I made it with Microsoft Word the first time. I just pasted some things in there and
that's what all the graphic designers use, right? Microsoft Word?
I mean, that's what I always use. I don't know about you, but I actually used Adobe Creative Cloud. It made a nice little logo here, so it's green. Oh, wait, that's the wrong one I'm pulling up here. It is this one. I thought that's the one I had. Oh no, this one. Yeah, yeah. So it's a green. We got our basically the same concept. We got the plug charging station. Basically, almost looks like a gas pump with a little plug out of it. And then in the middle there, put the West Virginia state silhouette. 'Cause 304 West Virginia. With our name and a little squiggly underline thing that I found. That was pretty cool. And it also kind of gives homage to me, like a little Z thing going here. It's kind of like I signed it, but it blends in. But yeah, this logo is present on our podcast, on the podcast app. I put a gray background around it to make it square and fit the podcast requirements. And then you should notice on YouTube here that's different as well. So I uploaded that on both platforms. Let me know what you guys think of it. If you have any critiques, anything like that, I'm open to criticism. But I think overall looks pretty good. I mean, I made it, so of course I do, right? But
I was actually telling Cassie about it, and Cassie thought that the old one was better, but I think this one is drastically better in every way.
I think this one looks more professional.
This one blends in with all the other podcast logos a lot better. I felt like ours kind of looked, well, not professional, basically.
This one,
It looked like it was made Microsoft Word, and this one was not made in Microsoft Word, and that's the difference.
Yeah, it looks like I paid somebody on Fiverr to make this, except I made it.
Yeah. I mean, just if you look at just the border, the black border around the circle, and just everything looks.
It's crispy. It's definitely higher
crispy.
quality. I mean, when you zoom in, it keeps quality.
Well, I think even
fairly
the
well.
green, I like the green more. I think the green goes well with the black, and
See, that's the only complaints I've heard.
green.
The green. I've heard the green was kind of hard to look at by one or two people.
Like too bright.
It's just, I think it's just kind of a weird green.
I like it though. I like the weird greens.
But I do like the weird green
it's
myself.
not like it's not like too lime green, is it? It's not too
No, see,
bright.
that's what I was
It's
thinking.
not like Honda Civic green.
Right, that's what I was thinking of maybe doing differently, was making it a little limer. But I like it the way it is for now.
Yeah.
Um,
No, we made all those business cards with their old logo.
yeah, if any of you have a business card with the old logo, keep that. It's a relic. I only have like 500 more, so we'll still be giving out the old logo for a while, I guess, unless we buy other business cards.
Yeah, and then we're also once again we're on the podcast app. So if you guys missed last week's episode, we're now on the Apple Podcast app.
Correct.
So Apple Podcast app or YouTube.
So if you don't have YouTube Premium, hit us up on the podcast app, because then you can listen without keeping the phone on the whole time.
Yeah, and then if you have an Android phone, you're gonna have to use YouTube for now.
Yeah, we're reaching both sides of the aisle here. No exclusivity to any one company's device, so anybody can listen. Tell everybody. Tell your friends. Have them tune in. But back on track here, we're got two more articles left. Looks like one will be pretty quick, but this one we will take a little bit of time on. Because it's new. I've never seen such a thing. This is news to me as of today, actually. It's when we heard. A friend of ours, Travis, sent this over to us. Shout out to Travis. But anyway, this is an article on Wired. So there's a Chinese EV that sells for, wait for it, no, not 15,000. No, not 10,000. $5,000. So the folks over here at Wired tried it out. The company is Wuling. It's Wuling's Mini EV. It's made in a partnership with General Motors.
And General Motors owns 44% of the company.
Wow.
So yeah, they own a big chunk of it. And then one of the reasons for it being so cheap is one of the professors. Let's see here. I gotta give you guys his name or where he's from at least. Yeah, at the end of last year, Professor Yamamoto at I'm so bad at these names. Nagoya University took apart a car that was shipped to Japan to see how it was possible to produce the vehicle so cheaply. And the biggest reason for that is they were using parts that were off the shelf and consumer grade instead of automotive grade. So basically, he speculates that the car's going to have more issues, or have issues more frequently, but it'll also be cheaper to repair because it uses, I guess, lower quality parts.
Interesting. And it's so tiny.
Yeah, it's
You
quite
guys have to
small.
pull the article up to see this.
I mean, it's kind of like smart car size.
It is very small.
But it's also, smart car is like really expensive.
But
like
the
25
craziest
grand.
part is it's outselling the Tesla Model 3 in China.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, a lot of people have $5,000. Not everybody has $50,000. So it makes sense, especially in the dynamic of China, like especially in like inner city Beijing or other big cities. This is a city car. This is not a road trip car, by the way. This is going to get you around the block or just a few blocks.
I don't know, get you further than a few blocks.
No,
So it has
kidding,
it has a top speed of 62 miles per hour, and then
however, it has
also,
trouble going over 52. Wasn't that in there somewhere?
well,
Starts to
luckily
shake or
they say
something?
here, a quote from the article, luckily, as you're unlikely to ever get the Mini EV much above 50 miles per hour, the issue of being able to keep it. Wait a minute here. The issue of basically trying to get it to turn.
Yeah, this says above 30 miles an hour, you'll end
Yeah.
up fighting the car's desire to go in a straight line.
Yeah, and then you also fill every pothole. Obviously, I mean it weighs 1,500 pounds. Now it still has good range though. 75 miles of range on the small battery pack, and 106 miles of range on the big battery pack. And the big battery pack is really small. It's 13.8 kilowatt hours. So, just for our audience, that's kilowatt hours is how you measure the capacity of a battery pack.
Mm-hmm.
And just for reference, the Bolt has about a 64 kilowatt hour battery pack. So this one has about a 14, and it still gets 106 miles. So
Not bad.
It's actually not bad.
It actually has 4 seats. However, the back seats are pointless, basically. But they're there. You can put little babies in the back. Whatever. But yeah, like you were saying earlier, cheap parts, not very comfortable. It is $5,000, so you do get what you pay for, folks. That's true in just about every aspect of life.
Yeah, and it also lacks a lot of safety features. It doesn't have electronic stability control, which is mandatory in, well, I guess, in all of Western Europe and also here in the US. So yeah, super cheap car, super small car, and probably not a very safe car.
But hey, it'll get you
$5,000.
down the street.
Yeah, I mean,
Kinda.
there's people in our area that don't drive safe cars either, I guess. I mean, they're larger, but they're not any safer, really.
No.
So,
But see, this is definitely safer in a society where everyone drives small cars.
yeah.
You don't have your Ford F-150s rolling up on you,
Yeah, you
or your
don't.
10,000-pound Hummer EVs.
We went to
Semis.
Europe a few years ago, and I think I saw like 4 pickup trucks the entire time I was there.
Yeah, people don't
And
have them.
they stood out like a sore thumb too. I was like, that's a truck over there. Like it was rare to see pickup trucks. I mean, that weren't like part of like the city or the
Yeah.
city fleet or something.
Yep, so this little guy, the Mini EV, pretty cool.
Oh, and that's an interesting part. The company is reportedly making less than $14 profit on each car.
Guys, if you want a car at cost, this is it.
Oh my gosh, $14.
They're not even making $15 on this car.
I feel like you just count
What
the
if you're
cash wrong.
what if
and
you're
you
a car salesman
make
and you're
money.
selling these? The company only makes
No.
like $13 and some change. So what are you gonna make off each car? Like a buck? Get $1 for every car you sell?
Oh, geez, that's crazy.
That's nuts.
Oh.
Not the greatest business model. They should probably raise the prices a little bit so they can continue to successfully manufacture and pay people, but maybe they're doing it for the cheapest child labor they can find. Who knows? Who knows? Anyways, last thing we've got for today. Not really new news, but it's a new article, so we'll kind of go over real quick for you. Biden's kicking off a $3 billion plan to boost battery production for electric vehicles. So this is going to be domestic battery production, I believe.
And this money is from that $1 trillion bipartisan infrastructure law, which passed. When did that pass? Like late last year? Yeah, like November of last year.
Yeah.
So the funding will support grants aimed at building, retooling, or expanding manufacturing of batteries and battery components, as well as establishing battery recycling facilities. So $3.1 billion is actually not like hardly any money at all.
For
I remember
facilities, yeah.
last week we talked about VinFast. They were going to invest $2 billion in the U.S. and they're not even gonna make that many cars.
Yeah,
Like they're gonna spend $2 billion. 3.1 billion shared amongst everyone. It's not a lot of money.
it's not, but
Like
it's
that
something.
probably needs to be like 30 billion to make a real difference.
Yeah,
But yeah, it's
starting
something.
slow.
But get a few billion every couple of years, it'll make a difference. And then let's see, and then once again they just reiterate in this article, the White House, or let's say the current administration, has set a goal of 50% electric vehicle sales by 2030. And then they're obviously working to construct that national network of EV charging stations that we've talked about. And probably a big point here, I don't think we've ever discussed this, is the current administration has also pledged to replace its federal fleet of 600,000 cars and trucks to electric power by 2035.
Cool.
So yeah.
I wonder if the next administration will follow that and the one after that.
Well, I'm thinking with that, whoever it is, well, let's say it's just someone from the right, or from like a conservative, the ball's going to be rolling so fast on the hill. I don't think they're going to try to stop it.
They can't stop
I mean,
it.
they can't stop it. I mean, they can't stop all the infrastructure money. It's already been passed. It's going to happen, so they can't stop the chargers being built. I mean, they're going to have to. They can't stop it. I guess they can't make it better, but they also can't stop the progress. Or why would they want to?
Yikes, I just saw this article. This hurts me, by the way. Amazon took a $7.6 billion loss on Rivian's stake after the EV company's stock plunged. Ford also took a $5.4 billion loss. Ouch. That hurts. Yeah, they lost over half their value in the first quarter of 2022. Amazon took a big markdown on its stake. I hope that they get that straightened out and put their stock price back up.
I think that probably was why Amazon didn't turn a profit this quarter.
Yikes. Yeah, that's a big bump.
Whoa. While Amazon has big ambitions for Rivian, signing an agreement for the production of 100,000 delivery vehicles. Oh, okay. So Amazon's going to take per delivery of 100,000 delivery vehicles by 2030. I thought that was said at first. Rivian's only going to make 100,000 cars by 2030. I said,
No.
yikes. That is
Hey,
not
but their
good.
CEO is confident that they can produce $1,000 cars this year.
Yeah,
I hope so.
Chevrolet plans on selling 24,000 Bolts this year, so.
Hey, man.
And they only build those, I think,
this
in one
is a
factory.
brand new company. They got to start somewhere.
Yeah, well, we'll see. I think that eventually, I don't know, a lot of these newer startups will get bought out by the big companies.
I think Amazon will buy them. Probably.
Yeah, maybe. There's a lot of risk to buying an automaker. I think Lucid will get bought out, and potentially Rivian. I don't know. Some of those smaller companies that are popping up, I don't think they'll be around forever.
No, probably
not because
not.
they have bad products, just because they're going to get bought out.
They just can't make enough products. They're not well established. Like, they can't compete. They're not going to have a very big market share. They're not going to be able to push that much product out. They're not going to make as much money. It's just going to be hard.
Yeah,
with anything.
It's hard to do a car company. I mean, that's what Elon Musk has talked about, is his chances of failure when he started were extremely high.
Yeah.
Like, everything's went exceptionally well in his favor and Tesla's favor since they started.
The fact that the stock became a meme and they made so much money,
that
off
gave him
of
a lot
the
of
stock.
funding, right? Because they could sell those shares. They could sell stock.
That's what gave him all his money too, and most of his wealth is in Tesla stock.
Yeah, he went from being way down on the list of richest people in the world to like number one in like a year or two.
It's crazy,
just like that.
Now he bought Twitter.
Yeah, now he bought a social media company.
Whoa!
So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, but anyway, that's all we've got as far as news for today, guys. Hope you enjoyed. Hope you learned something, a little thing or two. I sure did. I always learn things that I don't know, because Curtis reads more news than I do. So
yeah, I read the electric vehicle news just about every day.
Yeah, he's basically the one that single-handedly puts together these articles for you guys. So
actually, I want to say one more thing I just thought about. Speaking Elon Musk, it is fun to see a lot of people in right-wing media they're starting to like admire Elon Musk, even though there's generally about all the anti-EV stuff comes from right-wing media. So I wonder if that will also change hearts and minds of everyday conservatives on EVs, because they like Elon Musk now.
Yeah, I don't know.
No, I think that will make a difference. I really do. I think it'll soften them up on EVs.
I really hope it does.
I think it will. I think it will make a big difference.
I think EVs
Was
are
that
great.
part of Elon Musk like grand plan? Maybe.
This is all just a bid to get more Teslas sold.
Yeah, I mean possibly, or get people on board with like solar. I mean they do solar. I mean
it's true.
You know,
that's true.
If you like the CEO, that's a big difference there. You know.
Yeah. Pretty cool stuff. I like it. We'll see where that goes.
All right. Well, that's our final thoughts. So we'll see you guys on next week's episode. And be sure to like and subscribe. And if you're listening on the podcast app, please leave us a review.
5 stars would be great. But, if you think something differently, that's all right. I just hate you. That's all. Anyway, yeah. And share the podcast, too. If you think anybody out there might be interested in learning a thing or two, or you want to kind of get some ammo when you're trying to tell people about EVs, if you are an enthusiast of some sort, let them know about the podcast. I think it's a pretty easy listen. They can just do it as they go about their day, household chores or whatever. So yeah, definitely share it out. Get us some more followings. The more following we have, the more opportunities we'll get, and so on and so forth. It helps everybody. It's good for the economy. All right. But we'll see you guys next week. Have a great week, guys. And yeah, that's all I've got.
All right. We'll see you next week.